Welcome to the KDFL Fantasy Football Podcast. I'm Brett Steele, and as always, I'm joined by Jonathan Detroit Haynes. What's going on, man?
Yo, what up, fellas?
Right, all right. Also joining us, and is going to give us the rundown on this very special show, Mr. Phil Bruxy. Phil, take it away, man.
Hey, guys, what's up? Yeah, we're going to go do a little draft review. Review of our fantasy football draft, kind of go over how that went. We're going to talk about what stood out to us, anything that was out of the ordinary or anything we want to talk about. And then we're going to talk about who had the best draft, who had the worst draft. We're going to talk about who we think was the biggest steal of the draft. And then if we can find any biggest reaches, we may go over that. We'll see. And then we're going to go over our preseason power rankings. All right, Brett, back to you.
All right. So, yeah, as Phil said, we did have our draft this weekend. It was over Zoom with a couple groupings up in there. But overall, I think it went pretty well for a virtual draft. What stood out to me, real quick, and I'll start out, the quality of the draft was way better than it has been in years past, in my opinion. We even tried to do a biggest reach segment and had a hard time with coming up with those. So, that may or may not be a thing in this podcast, but I thought the quality of the draft was way better. It seemed like more people had a plan, more people came prepared, which stinks for someone like myself that's always prepared. It's usually my edge. So I don't know. What did you guys think?
I pretty much think the same thing. I didn't really think anyone did a terrible job. I mean, there were some questions in there, but it went really smooth. I was surprised how quick the draft went because our drafts usually take forever. So I thought it went really smooth and everyone had a pretty good draft.
Yeah, I mean, I hate to beat a dead horse, but that was kind of my thoughts as well. It went a lot smoother than I expected, especially with the Zoom call. But overall, I think we're doing really well with Zoom. I think it's worked out pretty well. And I feel like everybody had a pick ready, especially LJ. He was ready before he was even up, it seemed like.
LJ looked so smooth during the draft. He was all laid back.
I mean, as soon as his name was called, he had a pick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, I think it went pretty smooth overall.
Not as many draft day trades as I thought there would be. There was two or three probably.
Yeah,
there was a couple.
You would think there would be more where people would message each other instead of in person. You don't want to talk out loud so that people can hear you.
Yeah. That was my takeaway. I thought everybody'd have Discords open. But when you're in the draft, the only thing you can think to do really is, I'll give you these picks for this pick, trade back. It's very rare that you throw a player in there in that moment.
That's how me and Mike made a trade during the draft. He was like, hey, I'll give you pick 17 and 30 for
me and
12.
Reed the same. Yeah, me and Reed did the same.
There's just not a lot of time to do anything else. I mean, all you can really do is look at the draft picks.
Overall, a very big success. Now, let's talk about the three most successful drafts in our opinion. Now, we obviously couldn't repeat our picks, so these are going to be three different individual teams for best and worst. So, Detroit, go ahead and give us who you think had the best draft.
To me, it was pretty easy. I thought Eric had the best draft, and that's with saying taking Swift at number 2. I thought that was a mistake, but I know he was doing the homer pick. He wanted to make sure he got him. But he ended up getting Jonathan Taylor at 4, which that was the running back I would have took second off the board. So he ended up getting the 2 guys he really wanted. Then he traded back into the first round and got Tua, so he got a quarterback, which he desperately needs. And I really love his pick of T. Higgins down at 23. I mean, those are 4 really solid picks right there. So that's why I went with Eric with the best draft.
Yeah, I mean, I think Eric did a pretty good job. He did go running back. Can't get away from the homer picks of the Lions, but this time, I mean, DeAndre Swift went about.
Yeah, we're just talking about the draft. Just talking about his draft, not his actual team.
Oh yeah, with the still, yeah.
We'll get into that. We'll get into that a little later.
Right, DeAndre Swift still went about where he was projected. I believe so. All right, Phil, what do you think? Who's your award go to?
All right, well, this team, like, after looking at the draft, I don't even know what they were thinking, what their game plan was. I mean, they took Dobbins at 5, Justin Jefferson at 12. Oh, wait. Never mind. This is best draft. Oh, shoot. I saw Mike. I'd put Mike, and I was thinking worst draft. Okay. No, I actually forgot I like this draft. It's so he took Dobbins at 5, which I think is a good pick. Justin Jefferson, I think that's a pretty good pick down at 12. He also took Xavier McKinney at 44, who I contemplated taking with my pick right before that, but instead I took Antoine Winfield Jr. And they got Josh Uche, I think it is, linebacker for the Pats. I don't know how you say his last name. But yeah, overall, I like this draft, except for the part I was confused about at the beginning. Anyways, I'm going to go with the.
No, you just
Mike.
wanted to take a shot at Mike. We know.
No, that's not what it was.
Certain times, certain players just fit right where they're drafted, and I think J.K. Dobbins is a prime example of that. Landing in Baltimore, where he should be pretty well utilized. So we'll see. But I thought Mike did have a good draft as well. With my best draft, I went with one of my trade partners in the draft, Mr. Keith Reed and the Dogtown Dobermans. We lock up the best quarterback prospect in the draft at 3 in Joe Burrow. Keyshawn Vaughn, running back with Tampa Bay at 16. And then he traded with me. I took pick 14, and he grabbed pick 22 and 33. Michael Pittman should see some good playing time in Indianapolis. And Joshua Kelly, running back with the Chargers at 33. Again, mainly when you're doing these dynasty drafts, you're trying to draft for opportunity. And I think that's exactly what Joshua Kelly could end up working in, because Eckler's strong there, but only mainly in the passing game. And I'm not sure about Justin Jackson as well. So Joshua Kelly should get some pretty What?
Well, you also didn't mention that he got Jalen Rieger at 20. I think that's a steal.
Yeah.
I really like him in this situation at Philly.
Next time when I finish, if I get all the way through it.
No, you skipped over him and
I was doing the trade.
A couple of his draft
I was doing the trade.
See, now you talk like that because keep talking like that because we can hear you better.
Lean into the computer. That's when you got louder.
I've never been told to be louder. I've never been told to be louder, but here we are.
Right there. That's good right there. Yeah.
Jalen Reagor at 20, a little bit of a homer pick there as well. But when we're talking about opportunity and field time, he should have that. He should have that locked up. So we go tight end with the Saints at 41, and then linebacker at 53 to kind of round out the draft. So we're looking at 7 picks in the draft, and I think he knocked most of them out of the park. So I had to go with Mr. Reed, the Dogtown Dobermans, as the best draft.
Not bad. I don't have a problem with that.
All right, so let's flip it up to fun part. The worst draft. Detroit, go ahead and take us away here.
Well, this one was kind of hard to do because I don't really think anybody bombed on the draft, but I have to go with Bustin and the Hurricane Lumpus Cats. He only had one pick in the top 38, and he decided to go with Justin Herbert. I know quarterbacks are valuable in this league. I'm just not a believer in him. So then he had to get down to get a running back at 38. He needed running backs pretty bad. If I was him at 8 or at 10, I would have took Zach Moss. I'm really big on Moss, which I took with the next pick. So that's basically if I had to pick one team, I would go with him. What was that? What are you doing this?
Hey, what's that for?
And I thought he had a great draft.
You got a problem with him?
I think he had a good draft. Jalen Hurts is going to be. I mean, I know we're trying to, find weak spots when everybody drafted pretty well. But Jalen Hurts in Philly was a good fit for him, and I think he'll get utilized. And Carson Wentz is hurt all the time. So.
Hey, I like this pick. But thanks for taking my material for later in the show, anyways.
Oh, sure. All right, Phil, what do you have?
All right. I mean, I got to go with this team simply because I'm just pissed off that he took every damn linebacker. I'm going to go with Matt and the Methadones. I mean, he took the top 3 freaking linebackers off the board. And I also thought I had a chance of taking Chase Young, but of course, he took him as well. I mean, don't get me wrong. He needed linebackers, so it was actually a good draft for him. But, I mean, really, top 3 linebackers, did he really need to do that?
Yeah, I'm kind of with you on that. I know I'm going to catch a lot of heat from Matt because Matt is angry, and if you say anything negative about Matt, he's going to go off on you. But
no, I'm catching a lot after this. So
I don't have a problem with the Isaiah Simmons pick. You know, I think he'll be a stud, but then he just went linebacker crazy. I think, yes, he has a good running back stable, but it doesn't hurt to always load up on running backs. I would have tried to take a shot at a running back there in the second round, but Matt just fell in love with linebackers.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. I agree with what you're saying there. We were actually going to do a biggest reach, and each one of us was going to take a linebacker that he took, but we decided against that. So for my worst draft, I mean, I have to pick somebody that wasn't already picked, so I'm going to go with Nick. There's a very specific reason, though, why. Okay, so he gets CeeDee Lamb with the first round. Solid pick, right? All right, and then he gets Brandon Ayuk with pick 19, wide receiver 49ers. Now, my issue with both of those picks, and the same with pick 32 with Evans out of Tennessee, with the two wide receivers, they're both in very crowded offenses. It doesn't guarantee that they're going to be a prime target. They're going to be battling for field time, and in the case of Ayuk, this is even before considering his injury. So we don't. I mean, I'm not taking that into account with the drafting of the guy because that's not fair. But still, very very crowded teams that he's going to try to carve out playing time with his players. Evans, running back, Titans, that seems like a spot where the running back position is pretty well sealed up. We'll see what happens long-term with there. But, again, I have to pick somebody. So, I mean, Nick, I mean, this could turn out to be a very solid draft. But if I had to pick somebody with those first two off the board, I'm going to have to go with Nick here as the worst draft remaining. Just for the opportunity cost and how crowded some of these situations that his players are able to be in.
I get that. I don't really know what his wide receiving situation is, but I understand.
Okay, it's Thielen, it's DJ Moore. I mean, it's okay, but I mean, in a couple years, this draft could be a legendary draft if they all hit.
Wide receivers take a little while to.
They do. That's one of the first things I learned in this league is you got to give your wide receivers 2 or 3 years before you give up on them. So
yeah, Corey Davis come through finally.
Yeah, me and you were both on the Corey Davis train. Not to be.
That was a long ride, but it is
not to be. Okay, so we're looking at this now. Okay, we're not doing that. Okay, so moving on. Oh, real quick, do you want to hit on the divisions, Detroit?
Oh, talk about the divisions?
Yeah, so this year we did a division realignment. So, and one side seems to be way more angry about them than the other with how it worked out.
Not angry. I mean, it's fair the way that it was done. I just think
it was done, but are the results fair?
I think the division that the defending champ is, the commish. I know it's funny how it worked out that way. I think you're in that division. I really think that division's pretty light. And
hey, well, it's 2 of the podcast people were in that division.
Well, I'm just saying, I think the other division is more strong from top to bottom, personally, but
it's true.
It's not that.
True. I would think Division 1 is tougher, but
it's not that big of a deal.
Well, in this league, the divisions, conferences, whatever you want to call them, only affect the bye week. They don't affect playoff seeding outside of 1 and 2, and they don't affect your schedule. You don't play your conference more.
Do we still do the top 3 in each division? Is that how we're doing it?
No, it's top division winners and then the next 4 records, no
matter what division. Or the 2 division, or the 2 conference winner division.
So last year was different then, right?
No, last year was how it was.
Last year. Yeah.
Because how did Brett get in at 6 and 7 then?
Bro, I had a tiebreaker.
3 of us at 6 and 7.
Jerk. This slander is unnecessary.
Well, we're going to talk about that. All right,
we'll talk about it. Right. We'll talk about
it. Let's go.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Right, you don't remember the top rate controversy last year?
I was too busy at the top of the standings, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it was too. You were too important for that.
Yeah. All right. So let's bring it up. We'll start the power rankings now. How we did this? We each privately ranked.
We didn't do biggest steal, but that's okay.
Oh, biggest steal. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Good call. Man.
Now I got to do the hosting, dude.
Yeah. Detroit, what's your biggest steal? Go ahead. Biggest steal of the draft. My bad.
Well, for the biggest steal, I didn't want to do anything like if somebody picked in the first round because, it's just too easy to do it that way. So I went with our commissioner, your evil rival, down at pick 51 when you got Van Jefferson, the wide receiver with the Rams. I really like that pick, and I think Eric even touched on it in the draft. I just forgot about him a lot, I guess like everybody else did. Most of the rankings I saw, he was like 25 to 30. So to get him down to pick 51, I think is pretty much a steal. Whether or not he turns out, we don't know. But looking at it on paper, I think that was a pretty big steal.
Right.
So I'll give you one, Clark, this time, but no more.
Phil, what'd you have, buddy?
I went with Jalen Hurts. Kind of as you were talking about earlier, Wentz has a history of getting hurt. So Hurts may have a chance to step in if that happens again. I actually wish I would have taken him earlier, pick 43. But outside of that, though, Wentz getting hurt, I'm not really sure if he has a whole lot of value, at least in the first few years. But I still like that pick down at 45, though.
I think we both got sniped on the Jalen Hurts pick from Buston. If he had went anywhere else, if he had went to more traditional offenses, I wouldn't have, wanted to look at him. But Peterson's going to have packages for him, I would assume. And then he'll probably get the chance. Wentz, I don't have that much faith in him, but he'll probably get the chance to show what he can do. And that's all you're wanting with quarterbacks, at least to me. I don't want to give you the secret sauce, but all I want is the chance to have the chance, the opportunity. Opportunity is what matters. And he should eventually get to show what he can do. Whether or not it turns out, we don't know. But I like that pick, Phil. I went with LJ at 31. Brian Edwards, Raiders. I think that wide receiving core is wide open right now. And I think they have a good setup with their offense. They have a good O-line, so we should get to see Carr.
If only they had a quarterback.
Yeah, they should. They should get to see. Carr should have some time to maneuver through things and let somebody shine through. I also like that LJ also went with Ruggs, so that kind of influenced this because he's determined to get whatever rookie wide receiver comes out of that wide receiver depth chart in Las Vegas. So I've heard great things with Edwards from camp. So I'm going with Brian Edwards, LJ 31. This is to make up for me saying that he had a terrible draft. Reaching for Terry McLaurin last year. There you go. This is my apology tour. Now, because Detroit got me so fired up before I missed the freaking biggest steal, so we can get to the power rankings. So here's what we did. We each, by ourselves, without talking to the others, ranked every team 1 through 12. Then we shared them with each other and came with a consensus ranking. So if there's an outlier on the rankings, we will have that person talk about why they have the team so low or so high. And so we put all those together and it spit out the consensus ranking. Same thing we did last year. So at number 12, in our KDFL consensus first power rankings, we have the Dogtown Dobermans. So I'm going to toss this grenade to Detroit, and you can tell us what the thinking was there with ranking Keith Reed's Dogtown Dobermans last.
Well, his team was so bad last year. He has a lot. He's in full rebuild, and he knows it. So that's why he acquired a lot of draft picks, and he had a really solid draft. I mean, easily top 2 draft. So, but when he's running out there with James Conner and Miles Sanders at your running back, that's a little light for me. He's got Ben Roethlisberger as his quarterback and Josh Allen. I'm a big fan of Josh Allen. I do love that he got Burrow in the draft. But he's just missing a lot of playmakers right now. And I think it'll be another year or so before he's, contending for playoffs.
Yeah, we obviously all agree on this. We all had, I do believe we did, right? We all had, Phil had him at 11. Me and Detroit had him at 12. So now number 11, we have coming in with the Roxland Renegades, and I'll take this one. We all three had them ranked at 10. It's really the same old story. It's the Lions exposure, way too much of it.
Right there, buddy.
I think Stafford will have a great year, by the way. I really do. I think Stafford will have a great year. I think Galladay will have a great year. Amendola in there. I mean, obviously, I don't know that he's going to go with him every week. I mean, we got a lot of questions at wide receiver outside of Galladay. So, Kenyon Drake should have a good year, but I don't trust him. He had a good year when he got to Arizona, but we'll see if he can keep that going. Who knows what they're doing with David Montgomery in Chicago? I would like to see him used more in better roles. So we'll see. But I thought Eric just very light in a few key positions. Hopefully Jonathan Taylor pans out for him. But yeah, we have Eric at 11.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I love my Lions, but you can't. I don't care what fan of team you are. You just can't run out there with 5 starters for one team. It's impossible. Like right now, he's only got 4 in there, but that's because he doesn't have Swift in there yet. But
right.
What are you going to do when the Lions have a bad week? Which
I don't know that Amendola is going to stay in there. But
no, that's true. But still,
it's still 4.
Stafford can only throw the ball so many times.
Yeah.
You're just splitting points.
Yeah.
So I've never seen a team win a championship in fantasy football where you have more than like 3 starters on one team. So
and
I just don't think it's a good strategy.
Yeah. Okay. So we all had him ranked at 10, but he falls to 11 because of how the math worked out. But at number 10, we have the Hurricane Wampus Cats, formerly the Putnam Mountain Mamas. We had a name change in the league. Now, Mr. Rexy, me and Detroit had him at 9. I had him at 8. You come in at 12.
Always
yourself.
Go ahead.
I'm going to step out on this one. I don't want to talk about it. No, I'm kidding. I mean, he may surprise me. I mean, he does have a really good quarterback in Kyler Murray, fantasy-wise anyways. I think he's going to have another good season. He has a decent RB1 in Le'Veon Bell, but I think overall the running back situation may be an issue. I think it may be kind of a running back by committee. Doesn't really have a solid RB2. His QB2, I think, may be the same kind of issue. Who knows what Herbert's going to do in year 1. Does Haskins take a step forward? Other than that, he has Fitzpatrick, who's, he's okay if he plays that much. I don't know. Who knows? We'll see this season. I think linebacker is kind of a weakness as well. He probably could have used a couple of Matt's picks in the draft. But, I mean, overall, I think it's him at 9, but I had to go with him at 12.
I mean, I think he absolutely has a chance to have the best to lead the league in wide receiver points.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I agree with that. I mean, he has a good,
Adams,
really good
Brown,
wide receiver.
Boyd. I don't know about Boyd. I might back off that a little bit. He can be top 3 in wide receiver points. But I think Bell is going to have a better year than he had last year, personally.
I don't know. I think he's going to have about the same as last year.
Very, very end zone deprived. So we'll see. But, okay. So that has the Hurricane Wampus Cats in at number 10. Now, number 9. This is going to be fun. We have the Marmet Midnight Riders. Me and Phil have the Marmet Riders. I have them at 9. Phil had them at 8. Detroit, number 11 for the Councilman's team. Go ahead and walk us through what got you there.
Well, I wanted to do a different camera angle first, so let's touch on that part. I think this is a better look for me. But, yeah, Mike's team, his running backs are not that great. I don't think Eckler's all right. Howard, Baker Mayfield, the jury's still out on him. Teddy Bridgewater running the show in Carolina. I don't mind his linebackers all that much, but I just don't see a lot of playmakers besides Tyreek Hill, and I'll just leave it at that. I won't say anything else. But I just don't see a ton of playmakers on this team. That's why I had him ranked so low.
I think he's going to – the year Baker has is going to be – Baker and Donald as well. I mean, he made that bet a few drafts ago. It's about time for it to start paying off if it's going to. So, I mean, we need both. He's going to need both of them to step up this year for sure.
I love this view, by the way.
Yeah, I don't know. Phil will just sit in silence as we just talk about Mike's Midnight Riders.
Yeah.
I accidentally put him higher. It was supposed to be at the bottom, but I messed that up. Anyways.
Now, number 8, we have the Polka pharmacist. Detroit put him at 6. Phil put him at 6. And unintentional. I did not mean to do this, but well, I meant to put the ranking I have, but I didn't mean to be an outlier like this. I have them as all the way down at number 11. Now, I mean, this is not intentional to keep poking at LJ here, but when I look at this team, last year I said they were old and injured at quarterback. It's the same 2 quarterbacks, albeit they may be in better situations, but I don't think so because Cam has no weapons in New England. So, I mean, if he gets the rushing, maybe. Philip Lindsay, his role is diminished with Melvin Gordon. Cam Akers, we don't know how he's going to be used yet. I love Terry McLaurin. I really do. I've been very remorseful about talking about his draft with him. But when McLaurin got Haskins in the game, he was not good at all. He really kind of fell off there. We'll see what Mike Evans and Brady does. But I think Godwin's kind of going to be the main benefactor of that relationship. So we'll see. But I just don't, unless he does it defensively. Diggs is now in Buffalo with Josh Allen instead of the nice system he had in Minnesota. I don't see a lot of players on LJ's team that have gotten worse. To me, when I look at this lineup, most of them in worse situations than they were last year. So I thought it was pretty obvious. Maybe I'm wrong. Known to happen once or twice.
You just don't like LJ. We know.
I have no real – this is a fabricated rivalry that has now come into existence here. But, yeah, so that's why I poke at 11. I thought it was pretty sound, but maybe he'll prove me wrong here. Now, at number 7, I believe this is our first playoff team from last year. Yeah, the Kanawha County Kings. Let's see here. I have them at oh, sorry. Me and Detroit both have them at 7. Sorry about that. Phil has them at number 9. So, Phil, why are you so down on the Kings, man?
Well, I mean, I think it's kind of a similar thing to the Wampus Cats. I think overall the defense maybe the bad part of the team. They hold him back from the playoffs this year. I mean, outside of Van Der Esch, not a lot of good players on the defense, it doesn't look like. I mean, it's not bad, but I mean, I don't think it's got a lot of great guys on there. Ronnie Harrison may be his best player outside of Van Der Esch. He's just not projected to score a lot of points. And outside of that, I mean, Tariq Cohen is his RB2. Tariq Cohen or Melvin Gordon. I guess they could switch back and forth. I don't think Tariq Cohen's going to be that great this year. I think Melvin Gordon may have a little better year than he had last year if he actually plays any this year, which he should. And, of course, he has Christian McCaffrey, though. I mean, that could keep him in anything, honestly. But overall, I think the defense may be maybe holding back from the playoffs.
Okay. Detroit, you have anything on the Kings?
No, not really. I mean, he's got Christian McCaffrey, who's a stud. He made that trade for Melvin Gordon. I didn't like it at the time.
I liked it.
I know you did. But, yeah, he's a little bit weak on the linebackers, like Phil said. But, yeah, I think he's starting to go down with his team. Drew Brees is getting up there. I've never been a believer in Kirk Cousins.
Oh, shoot. Yeah, I forgot to mention Cousins.
Y'all still can't possibly be on this after last year.
Yeah, no, he's going to have the worst year than last year. He's not going to be good.
This can't be real.
You think he's going to have a better year
You
than
have an
last
egg on your face from last year and you're going to double down?
Yeah, double down.
Well, yeah. Well, eventually we're going to be right.
When I look at the Kings, I mean, well, we'll go into this in a future episode when we do playoff predictions and whatnot. But the moving on from Bell was both the right move and the wrong move for the timing, and we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that later. But that's kind of why I have them where I did as well. Now let's clear the stage. Number 6, consensus rankings. Montrose Mega Powers. I had them at 6. I had us at 6. Bill at 7. Detroit.
What?
Foolish man at 8. Go ahead. Take the floor.
Brett, your team is not good. I mean, let's be honest here. They're not good. You went 6-7. You were lucky. You were just lucky to make the playoffs last year. First of all, Todd Gurley, the guy's walking around on one knee. Terrible. David Johnson can't stay healthy. Singletary's going to lose some snaps to Moss. Brandon Cooks, this is his fourth team. The guy has been traded 3 times already. Not a believer in him. The only thing that's got you okay is your quarterback situation. Your quarterbacks are good. Your linebackers are terrible. Your defense is just horrible. So I for the life of me can't imagine how you think your team's good. There's no chance you're making the playoffs. I put you at 8th. I thought that might have been too high. Marvin Jones, he had a career year last year. He's not going to do that again.
So much has changed.
I mean, I don't know who is good on your team besides Watson and Prescott.
You done?
Yeah, I'm done.
My quarterbacks are not good. They are great. Nobody else has nearly the same situation in a 2-quarterback league. I have 2 of the top 5 quarterbacks in the league, both mobile, and both. Dak has a loaded offense now. Gurley's in a much better situation. Hey, what?
That's 2 positions out of 22 starters.
That's the 2 most important positions. Herb. Now we got our first Herb of the year. Now.
Oh.
Now, Gurley.
He's guaranteed. You know he's lost the argument when he goes to name calling.
No, I ain't name calling. Gurley, 15 to 25 touches guaranteed. Came out with Dirk Cutter today. He is fine. Singletary, yeah, he's not going to get the goal line carries as much, but he's still going to be very much involved. David Johnson is now rejuvenated in Houston. And Brandon Cooks is also rejuvenated in Houston. Marvin Jones had a career year. Nothing's changed. Calvin Ridley is only going to get better. He's most people's top breakout candidate at wide receiver. Foolish. Quarterbacks are all that matters. And I know that I am not catching wide receiver grief from somebody that went far last year with Edelman, Sterling Shepard, and Juju Smith-Schuster. Stop. Terrible. Horrible.
We're talking about the complete roster. I pointed out every position.
I think we have a bet on our hands. I was gonna do this before. I'm tempted to do this. I'm tempted to bet.
He's tempted, everybody. He's tempted. Let me remind you, he hasn't picked my team yet, so obviously he thinks my team's better.
Possibly.
Possibly.
Oh, and you just glossed over Mark Andrews, tight end breakout last year?
Okay, Mark Andrews had a good year. He did.
Yeah. Austin Hooper's now in Cleveland, away from Atlanta. He'll get more targets as well.
Brandon Cooks is rejuvenated. Yeah, he's rejuvenated on his 4th team.
Where does that matter? We'll see. We'll see. I'm going to the playoffs. I can tell you right now.
You are not
going to the playoffs. My team is better this year than it was last year.
Not make it to the playoffs.
My team is better this year than they are last year. David Johnson's in a much better situation for himself.
He can't stay healthy. That's the problem.
He's hurt 1 year.
1 year. Okay.
And defense, I can put together. Don't worry.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll see.
Don't you worry.
Your team's garbage. Anyways, Phil, you want to add this?
No, I agree with you. His team's, I think, worse than last year. So I don't think he's going to make the playoffs. Yeah, I'm putting a nail in my own coffin probably, but you know.
No, I can be unbiased. I can be objective.
I mean, with how my season's going to go.
Oh, yeah, your season's definitely going to go trash. But at number 5 in the power rankings, we have the Knockdale Dragons. Mr. Phil Rexy. Mr. Phil Rexy. Let's see. We all have before in our rankings. So I'll go ahead and walk through how he ended up at number 5 overall. Made a lot of trades. Got a lot better, in my opinion. Matt Ryan and Phillip Rivers, 2 dependable starters at quarterback. Derrick Henry, obviously a great year. Aaron Jones, if he can stay on the field and keep that starting role, he'll have a good year. I love the first overall pick, Clyde Edwards. I think that, a lot of people thinking he should have gone Burrow. I don't think you can trust up. I don't think you can pass up. I don't know why I said trust up. Pass up the opportunity to have an Andy Reid running back, main running back with the main touches. So Chris Godwin should take another step forward with Brady. Maybe. We pump the brakes on that because Jameis slang that ball. Robert Woods, Mr. Dependable. Christian Kirk, I think, is also going to have a big come up here. So I like your offense a lot. And I think that, you are definitely going to have a much better season than last year.
I agree. I think Phil has probably improved the most out of anybody.
Yeah.
And I definitely can't see him not making the playoffs unless he gets killed with a bunch of injuries.
No.
His running back stable is nice.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got to be the top 2 running back stables. So,
I didn't know we did. That's 3 in a row. At number 4, our consensus, the Elkview River Rats coming off yet another disappointing finish. Sad to see. Me and Phil both had you at 3. You had yourself at 5. So, Mr. Pessimistic, go ahead and tell us why you downgraded yourself, apparently.
well, I don't think Edelman's going to be as good this year without Brady. Brady just loved to dump the ball to him a lot, so I'm going to lose out on that. I traded Jones. I had my reasons behind that. But, so I'm depending on Chris Carson and Nick Chubb, and I'm hoping Moss turns out the player that I think he's going to be. You touched on it. My receivers are not my stronghold on my team. I love my quarterbacks, Lamar and Aaron Rodgers, Travis Kelce. I mean, he's going to be their top points, top 2 or 3 tight ends. So I like my team from that standpoint, but I just think my team I believe I had the best record in most points last year. I'm not exactly sure. But I think my team's going to come back to earth this year. So I'm not confident, like I said, with running Edelman and Shepard out there. So
I think your team's pretty solid, at least for one more year. I'm waiting for the Chris Carson bubble to pop. This has been a joke now. Like, come on. He's been solid for way longer than he should have been. Just my opinion on that. Hold on, let me make sure I'm in the right order here. Okay, yeah, we're right. Okay, number 3. This should be fun as well. The Charleston Methadones coming at number 3. Detroit had them at 3. I had them at 2. Phil, as if you haven't drawn enough angry ire from Matt already, go ahead and talk us through why you have them all the way down at number 5. Again, number 3 on our consensus, the Charleston Methadones. Go ahead, Phil.
Are you sure I can't pass on this one?
Yes, sir.
Don't be afraid of Matt.
I mean, honestly, he had such a great year in his first year in the league. He has to regress a little bit, right? I mean, am I wrong in that? I really feel like he does.
Don't reach out for all of it.
Help me.
Not your parachute.
Yeah, I mean, I could be wrong, but I just think he's going to take a step back. I mean, he's got solid QB1, a decent QB2. His running backs are pretty good with Kamar and Jacobs. Not sure about Kareem Hunt again this year, though. Receivers may be his weakness on offense if he really has one. I'm not sure about Landry and the Browns. A.J. Brown, I mean, he's okay, I guess. Tyler Lockett, he seems to always be reliable, so that may be his best receiver. He's obviously solid at linebacker after the draft.
At least one of them have to hit, right?
But actually, after that on defense, it's not terrible. But, I mean, he has some weaknesses, I think, on defense. So I just think he's going to take a step back by 1 or 2 positions this year.
Okay, so that is the opinion of the Charleston Methadones at number 3 in our consensus. Detroit had to tuck tail and run after the lambasting I gave him over his brutal criticism of my mega powers. So me and Phil are going to wrap this up here. At number 2 in our consensus rankings, we have the Cross Vegas Gamblers and Nick Hudson. You and Detroit both had him at 2. I'm the outlier with him down at 5. Let me break this down for you. Carson Wentz and Daniel Jones are the QBs. Carson Wentz does not stay healthy. Daniel Jones is going to have to prove it this year. We'll see. We'll see if he can take a step forward. Leonard Fournette at running back. I don't trust it. He's 2 touchdown dependent, and he never seems happy with where he's at. Dalvin Cook is in an actual contract situation and always had that little injury bug underneath. His wide receivers, Michael Thomas and Thielen, are very solid. That's why he's up here where he is. We'll see if DJ Moore can take a next step forward. Hunter Henry. It's Hunter Henry. It is what it is. He's got some nice talent at wide receiver that we'll see if we can take the next step. I always thought Anthony Miller would be better than what he is. Curtis Samuel, same thing. So we'll see. There's a chance, but I had to rank somebody somewhere. So Nick at 5 for me. I think I had a lot of praise for him last year. I think that will regress a little. Still a playoff team, still a contender. But, yeah, I had to knock him back some. So any thoughts on the Cross Vegas Gamblers?
No, I mean, I think he's going to – I definitely think he's going to be higher than 5th. I mean, I feel like he's always a really solid team every year. He just never gets over that hump, it seems like. But I think he's going to still be in it again this year.
I had him at 6 and me at 5, and I had to take a humble pill and knock me down a peg, so we know. Number 1, this is annoying. This is boring.
I mean,
Lose fest of a team. Glasgow Gunslingers. I mean, what do you want to say? Mahomes. Jimmy G is the weak point.
It's good.
Mixon, I think Mixon's going to have a strong year. We'll see if Barkley can bounce back from injury prone. Zeke, he's got the 3 running backs, 3 of the likely top 10 in running backs. Very nice. Good job. Julio Jones, Cooper Kupp, Amari Cooper. Amari Cooper might take a back seat with all the options in Dallas. I don't know. They have literally no one else to throw to but Kittle in San Francisco. What do you think, Phil?
I mean, kicker might be an issue this year. Robbie Gould's only projected 125. I think that's – what is that? He's ranked 17 overall in kickers. That could cause a problem. He might have to hit the waiver wire a few times this season for kicker.
So, yeah, Gunslingers are at 1. Tired of talking about this team week in and week out. Let's see if Jay Whiteside can get some time, some minutes in Arizona. Watch him break out, and then we're all really screwed. So, with all the jokes. So, just to recap, as we wrap up today's show, here are your power rankings. Number 12, the Dogtown Dobermans. Number 11, the Roxland Renegades. Number 10, the Hurricane Wampus Cats. Number 9, the Marmette Midnight Riders. Number 8, the Poker Pharmacists. Number 7, the Kanawha County Kings. Number 6, beloved Montrose Mega Powers. Number 5, the Nightdale Dragons. Number 4, the Elkview River Rats. Number 3, the Charleston Methadones. Number 2, the Cross Vegas Gamblers. And number 1, the Commission's Glasgow Gunslingers. Phil, as we wrap up the show, you have anything else for us? And where can they reach us?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and do what Detroit does and say Brett sucks. I'll go ahead and get that in for him.
I was going to avoid it. Go ahead.
Nope, I got to get it in for him. As always, you can follow myself on Twitter at Phil Ruxy. You can follow Brett at BrettStill2. And you can follow Detroit if you want to. You don't really have to. At Detroit8374. And then you can follow the show at KDFL Podcast. And as always, you can leave us a voice message on Anchor. We may play it on the show. Or you can give us a call at 901-609-KDFL. You can leave a message that way. We could also play that on the show.
All right. And for Jonathan Detroit Haynes and for Phil Ruxy, I'm Brett Steele. We will see you next week where we do NFL predictions and our week one games, as well as the KDFL playoff predictions, along with naming who we think will be our champion. So thank you for listening to the KDFL Fantasy Football Podcast. We will see you next week.